Hey everyone, welcome to another match of Temur Hooting Delver. Today we are playing Jund. Opening hand is bad. Way too many threats and too many Hooting Mandrills, really. Second hand, mulligan to 6. The only reason I'm keeping this hand is A, I don't want to go down to 5. And B, we have a forest that we can use to cast Traverse, that we can use to get an island. It's a slow start, but I didn't want to risk going down to 5 and having a really bad 5 as well. Inquisition of Kozilek, not exactly what we want with the type of hand that we kept. Not a good start so far. Of course, we pray our opponent takes our Delver of Secrets, but you never know. They don't. They take Serum Visions. I think the thinking here is they could probably take care of our Delver, and they want to take away our ability to dig. Yeah, I mean, at this point, cat's out of the bag, so I'd rather just use Serum Visions to dig a little more. Removal here, yeah, I mean, I kept the removal. I mean, what else am I really digging for at this point? I suppose threats for sure, in which case, in retrospect, that might have been a misplay, but I also want to deal with potential creatures that our opponent is going to be casting, or planeswalkers. So now that we have Mana Leak mana, I feel a bit more comfortable casting Delver. As you can see, we didn't place Seal of Fire. Now, Fatal Push. I let it resolve, and I'm not quite sure why I did that. Probably a mistake. Almost certainly a mistake. So yeah, it's definitely not a good game. Our opponent here misclicked, according to him, and wanted to fetch for a land but didn't get one. He called it GG, but I told him, hey, it's just turn 3, and I'm shooting blanks at this point. So I tried to salvage the game. We both made mistakes, so again, not our best game, but not a reason to quit either. And I think he actually wins this game anyway, because again, we've just been doing horribly. So get our Serum Visions, dig a little more. Yeah, I mean, at this point, we want to cast Delver and have it flip ASAP, so I decide to keep more removal. Again, my concern is that we're really falling behind. If our opponent resolves any kind of threatening creature, it's going to be a big issue. So let's just hope our opponent fetches for an actual land this time. Yep. Liliana. Not surprising. Things just keep going downhill for us here. Looks like our opponent changed their mind. Maybe they want to bait us with Bloodbraid Elf. Yeah, I guess they want to keep their Liliana. That's fine. I mean, we're going to be... Oh, Tarmogoyf. You see, this is the concern. Now with the Tarmogoyf, if we kill Bloodbraid Elf, we're going to make it a 6/7. Things are not going well. We're definitely going to, yeah, you could tell I was hesitating there, but we're going to do it. We've got to stem the bleeding a bit. What's even worse, that Tarfire is going to make their Tarmogoyf even bigger. So, it sucks. It really sucks. They're going to cast Liliana next turn, and we can't Stubborn Denial it. So things are just looking really, really bad. At this point, I'm thinking of just doing a Thought Scour. Simic Charm is fine, but I would have preferred a Tarmogoyf, honestly. We can potentially call against... Okay, so I think call against command at this point in the game, it's pretty much GG. It's going to be hard for us to catch up. I don't remember if I do concede at this point. I think I try and see the game through because we are still at 19 life technically, but I've played Temur Delver enough to know when we're in a hole we can't get out of. So 2 damage to our creature, and we discard a card. So we cast Simic Charm to, I believe, protect our Delver secrets. Not the way I was expecting to use Simic Charm, but it is what it is. At this point, I mean, it's writing's on the wall. Time for game 2. Time to bring in Blood Moon, Huntmaster of the Fells. We take out 2 Hooting Mandrills. That all makes sense to me. Veil of Summer obviously also makes sense, given what our opponent's playing. Tarfire, Seal of Fire. Those cards I remove, not because we don't need removal, but because our opponent plays efficient removal. It's more efficient than ours, and those cards are just going to make their Tarmogoyfs bigger, and I don't want to deal with that. Our opening hand was bad. Our second hand, our mulligan to 6, also bad. We got a mulligan to 5. Sorry, we got a mulligan to 4. Yeah, doesn't look too good, does it? It does not. So now we got to pick our best 4. Huntmaster of the Fells, although I love that card, it's way too early in the game to have them. This is as good as it's going to get. We do have Blood Moon, so we're going to fetch accordingly. We get a Forest, which is good. Still no Blood Moon. At this point, mulliganing to 4, you got to pray for a Blood Moon. It's the only way out. I suppose if they cast Inquisition of Kozilek, I wouldn't mind. They can take our Lightning Bolt. We don't have much. So, Serum Visions. There's our Blood Moon. There is our Blood Moon. This is why we play 3. I want both. Right? I want both. So, we'll get Tarmogoyf first. We will cast it, and then we will deal with Blood Moon. Our opponent is fetching greedily, which is beautiful. Honestly, mulliganing to 4 Blood Moons are our only savior. I tell you that through experience. That or our opponent also equally has very bad mulligans. So at this point, it's a waiting game to see if our opponent's going to fetch again, and if they fetch greedily. So they have a Vernon Catacombs. I believe they crack it. Or no, they don't. They crack it once we play Blood Moon next turn. Okay, no, they crack it now. think they made the same mistake this game. They cracked their Verdant Catacombs, and they still didn't get their land. Kind of stupid, I have to say. Xmage is not the hardest. Application to use. Here, saying that, I mean, whatever. Blood Moon's gonna seal their fate anyway. Here, I'm trying to see out of curiosity what they were going to fetch. You know, I'm assuming they were going to be greedy about it, but even if they went for a swamp, there's no way they're going to survive the Blood Moon, considering the other 2 lands that they have. Basically means no Liliana, means no to a lot of things. So we're going to cast Blood Moon, lock out our opponent. They now have 2 mountains. We have opposing Tarmogoyfs, but it's currently not an issue. He says swamp after I cast Blood Moon. I don't believe him, but that could be true. Again, even if it was, at most he can cast Fatal Push, which isn't a massive deal at the moment. So we get Stubborn Denial. Will be useful in the future. We're going to attack in and see if our opponent goes for the block. Yep. See if we get a concession out of that. We do not. But now we can counter any non-creature spell our opponent casts. So red and 6 is getting bigger. At some point we're going to have to deal with it. But for the time being, it's just an all-out attack. Hit him for 4. See what he draws. Fatal Push. Well, we have a response to that, don't we? If he was able to cast it. Yep. So we let him get the emblem. It really doesn't matter at this point. If he wants to make our Tarmogoyf for 5/6, so be it. Let's hit him for 5. Get another Blood Moon. We don't need it. And it's GG. Okay, so I don't think we need to make any real changes here. Again, that was a weird game, right? That was a weird game. Our opponent misclicked again, supposedly, and we Blood Mooned them, but we did mulligan to 4, alright? So we weren't given any favors here. So I still think it was fair. I do like the Jund matchup, so I think we would have had an upper hand there, even if they fetched for a swamp that turn. The only thing I can think of is that set game 2 would have just grinded out a lot more. So our opening hand is good. We get Thought Seized. Tarmogoyf gets discarded, understandably. We'll go for an island. You cast Serum Visions. And see if we can dig for a proper answer. We don't need either of those cards. So we go to the bottom. Opponent getting a swamp this time. Casting Inquisition of Kozilek. Alright. Let's see what they take out of our hand this time. If I were them, I would take Traverse. But I guess they're afraid of counter magic instead. Luckily for us, that means that we can now Traverse for more threats. So thank you. For now, we bring down Tarmogoyf, but next turn we can go get another Tarmogoyf and cast it. Well, no, actually we wouldn't be able to, but we could at least get it. We could go find a Huntmaster. Unless they take Traverse out of our hand this turn. No. Okay, instead they're going to destroy our Tarmogoyf. So be it. We'll go get our island. Pretty sure we have 2 islands. Oh, no, we don't. We just have 1. Silly me. That's another deck I play. So, we have no basics to get. That's unfortunate. I think at this point, traversing for a Tarmogoyf will make more sense, given the lands that we have. We can play our Delver of Secrets as well. We can threaten Lightning Bolt or something, and go from there. So they played their own Tarmogoyf. That's fine. It's fair enough. They miss a land drop. Not our problem. So I'm contemplating cycling end of turn here, which is interesting. I guess I'm not too afraid of their opposing Tarmogoyf right now. But it was a good play because we actually get to draw our land from the cycle and then get Serum Visions to flip our Delver. So we attack in. Things are going well. Yeah, we go get a breeding pool. We Serum. Huntmaster of the Fells. Don't think we get to see him this game, unfortunately, but he would be great. We bring down our Tarmogoyf and see what they have. Another Inquisition. So I guess there goes Simic Charm. Doesn't really matter because next turn we're casting Huntmaster. So it looks like our opponent just kind of got short on lands. I guess that's just karma for our mulligan to 4 last game. Okay, Tarmogoyf takes a bite from Fatal Push. That's okay. Our opponent's going to try and race us. Unfortunately, if they don't have an answer for Huntmaster of the Fells, it's going to be game over for them really quickly. So now we attack in. We have a chump blocker for Tarmogoyf. Our opponent comes up with more excuses. Wrong land at the beginning. I don't know what that means. They got the land they needed, so our opponent just quits, I believe. They do. So that's unfortunate, but I'm going to take that as Huntmaster eliciting a concession because they basically had nothing they can do against us. Again, this was a weird match overall. Game 1, I didn't play very well, and, you know, I'm not afraid of sharing games like this. You know, I do only upload matches where I end up winning, but I don't necessarily filter out matches where I have games where I'm just doing poorly. And Game 1, I did poorly. I didn't draw great either, but I also didn't play optimally. Game 2, we mulliganed to 4. Our opponent made a mistake, supposedly, fetching for a land. But we Blood Moon him on turn 4. And, I mean, listen, he just went greedy. Even if he was able to go and get his swamp, it would have just grinded out the game, but we would have inevitably won because our deck is better suited for Blood Moon than his deck. So, I mean, for me, Game 2 was a win, irrespective of if he misclicked his fetch or not. And again, let's just remember, we were at 4 starting cards against a deck that plays Inquisition of Kozilek and Thoughtseize. So, not ideal. But we pulled through. Game 3, our opponent was short on mana. We were not. We got all the threats we needed, even if some of them were getting removed via Fatal Push. You know, and then Huntmaster comes down, and yeah, it kind of ends the game. Our opponent complains. He complained at the end that he got the wrong land at the beginning. He has Wrenn and 6 in hand, but I don't know what that means because his starting land was Overgrown Tomb, and he had another swamp on the field. I mean, what was he going to go get? Even if he got a red source, he still wouldn't be able to cast Wrenn and 6. So I think our opponent was just pissed off with his own gameplay, and he decided to stop because he was going to lose that game no matter what. Again, I want to share this, you know, just to, I mean, hopefully you guys found it interesting either way, but it's also a good analysis of how Jund matchups go. I'm usually not too concerned about Jund matchups. Yes, for sure, they have more efficient removal, and they could pick apart our hand, you know, but we have answers of our own, and we have protection of our own, and, you know, we can, as long as we play intelligently and we, you know, try and guess what their next move is going to be, we work around Liliana, then we're usually safe. You can't just go start blindly attacking and tapping out on turn 3 when they're about to go into Liliana territory, for example. You know, that's just a mistake that you can't make. So, again, these were odd games. Not too happy about my performance, even though we did end up winning, and our opponent seemed a bit manic. But hey, it was a win at the end of the day, and we got to see how, again, how the deck plays against different types of threats and different types of opponents. I don't always record my games, so sometimes I miss Jund matchups that were much better than this one. That, you know, that we won, and, you know, I wasn't recording. So I'll try and get another Jund matchup up soon if I could come across one. You know, that will hopefully have a more competent pilot on the other end, and I will be thinking a bit more clearly on my end as well. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe if you like my content. This way you get notifications in the future when I upload more videos, and it also helps support the channel. Thanks a lot, and have a good one.